Alrighty then, it's time for an Olaf game, and unlike last time, which was a normal game, this one is a ranked one. And this one is more tanky Olaf than the whole Superfed AD build. Anyhow, I've been playing more Olaf as of late because of the tank meta, and he seems to be a good response to it, and actually adds to it as well, so I'll explain what I mean by that. Anyways, attack damage red, attack damage quints, armor yellow, magic resistance blues, and 921 0 masteries. Now there's two tanky Olaf builds, and the one I'm taking in this one is an aura build. The other one is the cooldown reduction build, and if I were to go on that one, I may consider taking some attack speed reds or quints, and cooldown reduction blues, and maybe even quints. Though, honestly, you're going to be building items anyways to get the cooldown reduction, so that might be overkill. It's just so you spam your E as much as possible, and you spam your Q, and it's mostly for being a bodyguard rather than a damage dealer, although it does deal a good hefty amount of damage. Either way, check out this gank. It fails because Lissandra doesn't act upon it quickly enough, but the Orianna gets close enough, and I managed to get her with my Q. And as a result, we just chain damage her, and I changed my Qs, and she just takes 2/3 of her health and damage. That's a huge gank, essentially. Like, she's out of commission for a while because she can't get too brave, so to speak. I go down bottom, but nothing really comes of this. It's not the most fortuitous gank, so we just get a Summoner spell, so that's about it. Now, Olaf, as I said, I've been using him more in the tank meta because he adds to the tankiness of your team and can defeat other tanks. There's been times where the enemy team has 3 tanks. They have someone like a support Nautilus, not exactly a tank, but they have a Rumble at top. They have a mid lane, well, they have a mid lane regular champion, like in this case Orianna, but sometimes like a Cho'Gath or whatever. And then they have a jungle tank of some kind. And I've just been able to ignore pretty much all their CC and dive head first in their AD carry. In this case, it's going to be the same situation. This is where I picked Olaf because they have a lot of crowd control and their champions are really weak at killing someone who goes berserk. Unless the character who I'm supposed to kill gets hyper-fed and just guns me down prior to that. In the early game of this game, nothing much is happening. Top lane Singed is just suiciding because it's singed, and that's what proxy singes do. My bottom lane is will die at some point, but there's nothing really that can be done to help them, and I haven't really seen the Malphite do anything. I keep trying to kill the Orianna, in this case I do kill her because she couldn't CC herself to safety, though Lissandra's ultimate ended up being her demise. So either way, I would be recommending Olaf to be picked right now. He's good both in the aura build and the cooldown reduction build, and the only reason I picked the aura build in this one is because I figured the enemy team is looking for quicker fights, because if the enemy team doesn't get a quick kill on anybody important of my team, we're just going to run them over. I mean, it sucks for them because they don't really have the burst to execute someone so quickly. They have they can maybe CC my team, and then hopefully they kill one of the important characters that may have straggled a little too far. But otherwise, it's not. Otherwise, they have very little chance of actually winning a lot of team fights. Again, they kind of have to get us in an off position in order to win. So the aura build works because I can support my teammates with Locket of the Iron Solari, and then give my teammates a Righteous Glory, and Locket of the Iron Solari help keep them alive through the AoE that we're going to be submitted to, and the Righteous Glory to reposition ourselves and counter engage on the enemy. That was my idea with this build. If the enemy team was more heavy engaged, then I would have gone the cooldown reduction build, where I'd be able to bodyguard for my Jinx really well. I mean, the aura build can work as a bodyguard, and eventually you will have enough cooldown reduction to spam your abilities, but the cooldown reduction focused build rather than the aura build gets it a lot sooner. It's kind of just the cooldown reduction build and the aura build is just a difference in time frame, which stat you focus on more, which idea for your champion you focus on more. And as to why I don't build offensive as Olaf is, even though you could farm all day as Olaf, and even though you could build an offensive item and do something perhaps, the gold in the jungle doesn't exactly support that too well. If you were top lane Olaf, you can definitely go something like a Tiamat or a Blade of the Ruined King and then build it into a tank. But in the jungle, that's kind of very risky. The only reason in the other Olaf video that I uploaded I was able to do that was because I got super fed. Now watch this. Me and Rumble both actually thought Lissandra was going bottom, so we made this reckless engage against the Caitlyn and the Malphite because we thought such a thing was going to happen. We do kill the Caitlyn, and unfortunately we get ganged up on. If the Lissandra had come earlier, we might have been able to kill a few of them, probably Orianna and Caitlyn, before the fight turned against us. We were there early enough to just kill the Caitlyn, and then so it would have been a 3v3. And then Lissandra could have just bursted down the Orianna, or we just turned our attention to the Orianna and it would have been done with. But Lissandra was like, oh my bad, I wasn't paying attention. But that's fine because like the team is actually communicating. We're just sort of getting a little bit too tunnel visioned in certain situations. In this case here, I was unable to smite steal the dragon, but we get a few concession kills. Jinx just annihilates 3 people right now. She gets 3 kills. We kill the Malphite. And right now, the Orianna gets chased down, and I believe she actually does manage to get trapped by the Thresh. I think the Orianna stuck around here along too much, just trying to take the farm. Oh no, wait. Yeah, Rumble catches her, and then in comes Thresh to get really brave. He gets brave, grabs her, but yeah, he dies too for it. So it's kind of it's a good trade-off. I mean, we traded Dragon for essentially a full-on wipe of the enemy team. Now, here I get caught, and I just love doing this. Like, I have no chance of surviving if I just kept running. So I decided just to stand still and try to lifesteal my way out of it. And I think if her homies hadn't shown up, I would have won this. And then I get sniped out by the Caitlyn. So I probably should have just let myself die to the Morgana rather than the Caitlyn. Now, Olaf. Is there any times I would recommend actually picking him? Definitely. Again, like I said, I've been spamming him more than usual. I mean, I haven't really played him last season, but now I figure I do have a reason to be playing him. Like, if the enemy team has an overwhelming amount of tanks, it's a very good idea to pick Olaf if you need a sort of tank that can deal damage. Because what I've noticed is so far is that most teams have one tank that provides all the crowd control and doesn't really need gold or items, and usually this is going to be the support. That's why we've seen like support Nautilus is, you know, all he really needs is his crowd control and then he's golden. One of your tanks has to be a hybrid, damage and offense, and preferably, you know, being able to do offense with only buying tank items. And then your other tank is again also a hybrid, but with more with a reliance of buying at least one item or something. Like Olaf could fit both roles. If I was top lane, I could buy my one offensive item and then go tank. Though from the jungle, I can only be a tank and still deal, you know, considerable amounts of damage. You know, like good damage given the kind of build I have. So here we get into a fight. My death here looks grim. It shows that I need more items because I got gunned down before I had any effect. But fortunately for me, my teammates cleaned up the rest of the enemy team. So it's not as bad. My death was rather pointless, aside from keeping the Caitlyn away from gunning down the rest of my team. But the enemy team was so scattered about this and didn't really do that good of a job of fighting it that they pretty much get wiped out. A Singed right now is going to get CC'd and pretty much also gunned down. Look, Caitlyn gets killed. Does a Singed get killed? I don't quite remember. Either way, as I was saying, Olaf definitely a pick against heavy tanky team, especially if you need a tank that can build full tank and deal damage still. I love the true damage effect I have as Olaf just being able to cleave someone down regardless of how fat they are. And I love being immune to shit. There's actually been instances where the enemy team is full-on engaged on me, and then they must have been surprised that shit doesn't do anything to Olaf. It's like they forgot that, you know, Olaf existed, and they were very, very silly with their abilities. I believe it was a Morgana who flash Q'd me while my ultimate was up, and I just kind of laughed at her. It's like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? Either way, look at this. Rumble's ultimate is beyond perfect here. It gets the 2 MVPs that we need to kill, and I'm able to go absolutely immortal. Just I clobbered Orianna, then chased after the Caitlyn and killed her too. And Jinx's missile encourages me to go after the Singed, and we kill him as well. So this is pretty much a clean sweep of the enemy team, except Morgana, who had died much earlier. So a delayed ace or something. But still, we get the dragon. Thresh goes high flying against Morgana just to whip her ass, and that's about all he accomplishes. Then Jinx manages to trap her, guns her down, and we get a tower as well. That was perhaps the biggest win in the entire game. And it was done because the enemy team once again forgot a few key things. There's no peeling an Olaf. So if the Olaf is already upon you, you're probably fucked. And then Rumble's ultimate was the game-winning ult. It pretty much destroyed the enemy team. So the combination of Rumble securing perfect ult on the MVPs, keeping them in place, dealing lots of damage, forcing them to use any abilities they might have, and me being already in melee range against them and being unCCable. I just ran a train on them and destroyed them. So that was beautiful. As you can see, I got Righteous Glory and Lucky of the Iron Solari too, so I'm backing up my teammates and doing even better. You know, I've actually on the Aura Olaf, I also bought Zeke's Herald too, when I've had a more physical team. In this one, it doesn't really make too much sense to buy it, so I could go pretty much any build I want, even a physical build at this point, since I'm getting pretty big and beefy. We kill the Orianna, and I believe I go gung-ho to Caitlyn, and I don't actually manage to do anything to really kill her, so I have to back off because the tower is destroying me, but I do think I managed to survive. We killed the Malphite, and I believe we killed the Singed as well. And I think they dived the Caitlyn, yeah. So yeah, it's another brutal victory, and after this it just kind of snowballs, and it pretty much worked out because the enemy team kept making the mistake of forgetting what champions we have. I mean, they underestimated the damage that Olaf would have. They didn't respect. I mean, well, actually, yeah, the Olaf would have. They didn't respect Rumble's ultimates or his ultimates and generally his inability to be killed. It's just they kept clumping up and just getting destroyed by it. They also didn't really build appropriate to deal with my team comp. Look at Malphite's build. He has a Thornmail of all things. My team is Olaf. I'm gonna ignore that Thornmail. So my Rumble teammate's just gonna destroy the Malphite. Whatever. The Morgana also built a Frozen Heart. Yeah, the Jinx is big, but they kept ignoring the Rumble. They kept ignoring me as well. My true damage ignores their shit, so they need a bit more health. And Rumble is just pure magic. He's just gonna slaughter the enemy team. So it's no surprise they're losing to his ultimate. If I was them, I would have gotten at least half and half, where someone should have rushed a Locket of the Iron Solari, which is pretty sad that didn't happen. If anything, Morgana should have tried purchasing that instead of a Frozen Heart, and then let everybody worry about their armor or something. The Singed, I think it was just building magic resistance, just given the fact that that was probably what he was going to build anyways. I destroy them. I destroy the Morgana, as you can see. It's just, I mean, Caitlyn. At this point, I'm pretty much uncontrollable. I'll just go through the entire enemy team, ignore their damage, and just kill who I need to kill. As long as I kill the Caitlyn or the Orianna, or hopefully both, then I've done my job. And also after I've given my auras. Now I'm also building Thornmail, because the only threat they have is the Caitlyn. And if she were to, I mean, she has to gun me down, and if she focuses me, she's just going to get massively punished. So, again, let's reiterate what happened. The enemy team, they really did not build to deal with my team. So they got fucking punished for it. Second, they respected nobody on my team in terms of, you know, what we could do. They put themselves in a position in which Rumble could obliterate them. They put themselves in a position in which they couldn't make enough distance for me not to catch up to them and kill them. Like, I mean, if you can't CC me, then you better hope to avoid me. So, yeah, like, they're kind of just losing heart. Hell, now we have 2 Locket of the Iron Solaris. We know their damage is so minimal that if we survive it, we're not going to die anytime soon. So, Lissandra goes in, kills the Caitlyn, and there's pretty much nothing the enemy team can do. Look here, hell, the Rumble gets caught off position, and he still is able to respond and deal tons of damage. I believe he does get dropped, but not without having taken the lives of 2 players. And now at this point, we're just kind of dicking around. We're taking the inhibitor. We're going off for the towers. I mean, I'm pretty much late to the show, but still doesn't matter at this point. They could have won. Their team comp wasn't that terrible. They could have won engages, like, you know, Malphite and Orianna, boom, destroy something, Caitlyn shoot down important people, and Cinch split push out to high heaven, but they just didn't do it properly. They didn't build properly, they didn't deal with these champions properly, so they just lost. Either way, hooray for Olaf. Remember, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like, and subscribe if you haven't yet. Make sure to also check out the sponsors that make this channel possible. Links to their websites are in the description below.